Okay, white guilt.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I have to admit something. It never friggin' occurred to me until I heard it much later. Because, growing up, and no one really, not very many people wear pantyhose anymore, but
Right.
in the 80s, you
Right.
could not wear a skirt without
Without
pantyhose.
pantyhose.
Oh
Right.
my God,
Right.
no. I remember the first time I didn't wear pantyhose, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I would never wear pantyhose unless I'm cold.
It's so hot, yeah.
But it never friggin' occurred to me that when I looked through the colors and I looked for nude, that's the dumbest word.
It is.
Because it's only nude for a certain amount of people.
Thank you.
The sad thing is, again, why we have to have these conversations, is it didn't occur to me until I read that years later, and the nude crayon.
Yes. Yes.
Or
and
the skin
nude,
color.
And the nude Band-Aid. All the flesh tone Band-Aid. That's not my flesh.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
My mind is being blown right now. Of course.
It's not my flesh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. A lot of things in society are nude. Nude pantyhose, nude makeup, nude foundation. I've seen all kinds of nude for whom?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not nude for me.
Pale white chicks.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that, but then call it peach or call it pink or call it beige or you know what I mean? Call it something else, but don't call it nude, because the minute you do that, you are nude excludes.
Okay, she's good.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's you're not talking about me.
No.
Yeah, so that's a big thing.
And that, at least people are finally talking about that, and there's changes. Like you can go, and now there's like a whole, like lots of different colors and lots of different descriptions of, but like, how long did that freaking take?
Yeah. Because somebody had to bring it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't even think the people who originally created that were trying to be racist. They really and truly thought, oh yeah, this is nude. We'll call this nude. And also, the nude is almost like, I don't know when pantyhose were first discovered, but it's that idea of like Marilyn Monroe. Nude, the word nude has like a thing to it, like naked and nudity or whatever. So it's like a sexy color.
Right.
It's a sexy color to pick up for your pantyhose. You know what I mean? It ain't sexy for me, but it's sexy for,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because that was the only color that was available, I remember my grandmother used to wear pantyhose that were just so light on her dark skin. It was so weird, but that was the only thing that was available. They didn't even make the kind of pantyhose that would have gone well with her skin.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. And probably when it was first brought up, like, because I know this about women, but when things are first brought up, well, they're not gonna, like, who has the money? We gotta go where
who's
the money
gonna buy
is.
it? Right.
Finally, they figured out, like, black people have money.
Yeah.
And women have a lot of money.
Yes.
And we all spend it as well.
Yes.
So I think the thing that had to change wasn't a moral thing. It was like, oh, I can make money.
And it's always about follow the money. You know what I mean? Everything is about follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least now following the money makes sense to, like, like with what I'm saying, like with media, even like if you have shows with diversity, more people are gonna watch them.
Exactly.
Follow the money.
Follow
the
money. The only person who would still say no, I don't want to have a diverse show, a diverse cast, or whatever, is someone who really and truly is just so racist that they don't even care about the money that would come from it.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
And you think about women too. We might be going off topic, but I just think about Barbie, because for so long the people that run the studios in Hollywood are these older white men.
Yes.
And it's like women will go watch men, but men will not go watch women, right? And so forever, and then you have, this is not the only one, but you finally have these movies that come out and prove them wrong, and yet it still takes forever. It's still going to be a while before we have a lot more female-driven movies.
And it's so crazy because Barbie was the biggest box office smash, yet as far as the Oscars, the only person who was really nominated well, of course, America Ferrera, and I loved her monologue, and I'm glad she was nominated. But was Ken? Ken was the one that was.
He was good, though.
Yeah, he was good. I'm just like, he was the one who was nominated, not Margot Robbie, not the director of this billion-dollar box office smash. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do find I think Greta should have gotten nominated for director. I think she's freaking brilliant. In terms of when I watch Margot Robbie, which is it Robbie or Robbie?
I don't know. You have to
Robbie?
ask her. You have to ask her.
Okay, Margot. Okay, Margot. I thought she was very, very good.
Yeah.
But I thought he was brilliant. And
really?
I did. It
was cute. I didn't see anything in it.
No, he had this.
But I mean, he killed it at the Academy Awards, though. That song was fantastic. And that whole Marilyn Monroe thing of him, that whole Marilyn Monroe type video spoof or whatever it was, that was brilliant. But, again, it just goes to a certain extent, we'll give you guys this, but we're not going to give you that. We're gonna, you know what I mean? It's like going to keep you in your place.
Well, and it's also who's voting and who's still in charge.
And that's why we got to change the people who are on the voting committees for these things, for the Emmys, for the Oscars, for the Golden Globes. We got to make sure it's a diverse representation of voting members for these things. That's what I like about the SAG Awards, because the SAG Awards lets all of us who are SAG, vote. So they don't know what color I am. They just know I'm a SAG member. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they don't care. And I love that. But it's.
But it does make it different because I was on the SAG nominating committee, so I got to.
So was I too.
You did.
I was not this year, but a couple years ago I was on the nominating committee. Yeah.
And it's always important to me, just because of what my awareness is like. I want to watch as many movies with as much diversity as possible.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and there was a movie, 1001, that it was in the SAG thing, but it got very little acclaim. But because it was mostly all black actors, I think. Was so I voted for them non-stop, I nominated them, but the thing is, like, there's not enough people that watch the right shows, right? I think not enough, like a lot. I tell white and black friends about 1000. I think it's called 1001. No one knows what I'm talking about.
I think I've heard of it, but I'm going to have to go and check.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and check.
I'll check the name on that.
No, you're probably saying the right name. I think I've heard of it, but I just, because they need a publicist, they need to hear more. You know what I mean? You don't hear about it. And you can't get mad about something if not enough people have heard about it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But okay, so talk to me a little bit about makeup and your journey with because we've talked about pantyhose and stuff like that, but it feels like it took a long time for makeup to also catch up with different skin tones and.
Iman talks about this the best. The supermodel Iman, and I love her. I used to have her pictures all over my wall. I was the first black Barbie at FAO Schwartz, the big toy store in New York, Fifth Avenue. I was the first black Barbie costume character. So I'm gonna send you a picture so you can put a picture of that on there. I just gotta put that out there. So but the interesting thing is, it's so funny. People were saying, they're not gonna think you're the real Barbie or whatever. And so some little boy trying like, you're not the real Barbie. I'm like, the real Barbie is in a box. And you know what's so funny? The little white girls loved me. They came up to me, hugged me. They were just like, oh my God, she's just like Life Size. Because at the time, Tyra Banks had a movie called Life Size where she was in a pink gown, just like I was in the pink gown for Barbie. And so the white girls didn't care. They loved it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it was a black boy who actually said, you're not the real Barbie. It wasn't white people. White kids loved me. So that was just so bizarre. I was like, a box, like I'm gonna put you in a box, that kind of thing. But other than that, it was just an amazing experience. I used to do story time for the kids. I'd sing to them or whatever. Black Barbie. And so that was a huge thing because I was the first one. They had to get permission. I remember my boss, Chuck Santoro. Hey, Chuck. Chuck had to get permission from Mattel to allow me to be the first black Barbie costume character.
Wow.
Yeah, because it had not been done.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like the first black Barbie in the country.
I mean, as far as I know, maybe but that was the flagship store, the big store in Fifth Avenue. So maybe other little stores, FAO Schwartz stores might have done it. Yeah. But I think I was the first one, and then others did it after me. And this was like in 1999 maybe. Yeah.
That's so late.
Because there is a black Barbie that's on the shelf, but they just never had a live black Barbie costume character. Yeah.
It's just mind blowing. Okay.
So,
Okay. So
that was one thing. Yes.
Makeup.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Makeup has been you see, I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist church where we weren't allowed to wear makeup, so I didn't really think about makeup until I got older, you know what I mean? And then looking for it, I would have to like really, go to the counter and have them put it against my hand. But my hand is much darker or a different shade than my face, you know what I mean? So it's hard, you gotta like just trial and error. But Iman, one of my favorite supermodels ever, and I used to have all her pictures on my wall, and she even talked about this when she would go to modeling gigs and they didn't have a makeup artist who would have a shade for her. And so she would get up and say, "Do they know Iman is black?" And she would get up and leave, and they had to like scramble around and try to get, some makeup for her.
Good for her.
You see what I'm saying? But so, I'm sure Naomi Campbell went through the same thing. All, years of wanting to have makeup that looks like us. Yeah. And even now, I'm not like a really good makeup person at all, but trying to find something that kind of matches, it's still kind of a struggle. But there's so many more options now. Way more than when I was a kid, for sure, and way more than when Iman started out. So we're getting there.
And what about like hair products? Because now it's amazing the amount of hair products on the shelf. Because I have a black son, and so we have to get very specific hair products for him. But now there's like a plethora. It seems like of products.
Way more.
But that's not how it was.
No, not at all. See, I grew up with a straightening comb. My grandmother put the straightening comb on me and straightened my hair because someone straightened her hair. That was like that hard comb that you put on the fire, on real fire. And like, yeah, that's what I grew up with. And then as you get older, you can do wigs or weaves or braids or whatever, and that's like a thing now. But then, of course, I spoke about this on one of our other White Guilts, that women had to fight. It was called the Crown Act. They actually had to get a real law to allow women to have hair like this, but in the office place, in the corporate America. And don't try to like let her in and then not let her, get promoted or whatever when she's the best, the most qualified or whatever, just because you don't like her hair. So they had to like fight for that, and they're still fighting for that. Ketanji, that we have a Supreme Court justice that has the kind of hair she has. That's amazing. We've come a long way, but somebody had to fight for that for her to get, to the place to have her natural hair or natural braids or locks or whatever you want to call it. And a lot more women, I think, a lot more black women are opting for natural hairstyles, or protective hairstyles or whatever. So, we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go. Still, the standard of beauty in America, for sure, is straight, long hair. It just still is. And that's fine. That's totally fine, but there's an other. That can't be the only one. Let us all have a different hairstyle and a different style of beauty. You know what I mean? That's why I loved Lupita when she came on the scene, with her dark skin. She's gorgeous. Dark skin, short, closely cropped hair. That really just blew everything out of the water. And then you see more, models, of course, that come out. Supermodels you saw a lot more with the short, natural hair. But as far as an actor and like an Academy Award winning actor, and of course Viola, has her different natural hairstyles as well. So it's coming. It's slow but sure, but it's coming. Yeah.
Well, here's to changes. Again, money, because everybody wants to look beautiful.
Yes. If a white boy says, Mom, I want to wear this tutu to school or whatever, there's going to be an issue,
right?
But it's not going to be the same thing as if a little black boy wears a tutu to school.